guys, welcome back to my channel, and here is my ex-ops manager who is now a managing director at Outsourcing Angel, Richard Phu. We're here to continue on our chat around how to scale yourself out of your business. And so in that previous episode we were talking about why I even hired him in the first place, and some of the automations and things that he did so that I felt that I could be more free. But one of the biggest things that helped me to really free myself was that letting go of decision making. So prior to having Richard, I had a lot of team members already, a lot of VAs, and I also even hired a marketing manager at the same time as hiring Richard. But if I didn't learn a lesson of letting go of control and decision making process, I could still be stuck, because I still would be approving Richard, approving Annie, approving all the other team members. And so I want to talk to Richard here about his mindset around how do you actually, your goal is actually making yourself obsolete to make sure that your team becomes the key person to make decisions for you on your behalf so that you truly have a lifestyle business. So Richard, when you came in, what did you see in terms of the way I was running the team? You can insult me, it's fine.
The easiest thing to see was everyone would stop and wait for you to make a decision, and that's a scary part, for me when I see it, because I'm like, why does everything have to wait for Miss Lynn
Yes.
to decide on this, and then it creates just that block there. And on top of that, not only that, it's also like additional work, because a lot of people are creating spreadsheets and recording all these other things, so that then it's like, hey, Lynn, this is what I'm doing. To
present.
Yes. Right? And it's great, but at the same time, like, no one was able to make a decision for you or the business unless it went through you, from what I saw. And I'm like, why do you care about that? Like, what? Like, let me ask you, like, what happened there?
I think at the time I'm just so caught up in the process of work that I don't sit and stand, or maybe I never had a business coach at the time, never had someone to challenge me, like, why are you doing that? So you don't sit back and question yourself. So you just do. And although I do feel like whenever I hire people, I offload more work. I still, was deciding, because I also didn't know that I could teach them to finally make that decision. And I feel like also maybe I know best. I think that if I just have the last input, then we'll minimize the mistakes. I remember and it's such a process, because even up till early this year was when you asked me, like, why do you still need to check the website changes because we're going through a website design? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe because I feel like I might have a best idea and I don't want it to be launched and it doesn't look right. And so the challenge here is letting go, teaching someone else, and being okay that there might be some mistakes. And basically the goal in mind is to let go of being the final person, right? So I never had that goal. So I was just doing that and didn't know any better.
And then, like, how did you let that go eventually? Like, what did you need, right, in order to then be able to go, okay, I'm gonna step back, and it's okay. Like, talk us through that.
Yeah, so I feel like Richard not only came in as an ops manager, he was like my business coach. He would ask me, why are you doing that? This is the reason why you should empower the team, because instead of giving them the answers, why don't you try to teach them in a way that they will know how to make the answers themselves next time? So you actually taught me how to do it. So I basically had 2-in-1, hired an ops manager who ended up being my business coach. And because I guess you had that knowledge around leadership, personal development, and whatever things that you've gained outside of this job that you brought into the company that challenged the way I was thinking, and it made sense. I'm like, yeah, sure, I don't want to be caught in the business. Sure, I don't want to be the best decision or the only decision maker. And so I trusted your guidance, and I practiced. And having that someone else is very helpful, because I still was blinded to some other things. There's other departments or other little tasks that you just get caught in doing because you're just doing it. And then it's just sometimes you need to sit back again and go, why am I still doing that? And then it's always work in progress.
And like, I think the biggest thing I noticed with you is you're always wanting to do, right? And one of the things, in order for you to let go, means do nothing, right? And that's the hardest thing I think as a business owner is like, I can't do nothing because like, oh my God, I can see like that's not going to go well, and that's a massive challenge. And I think that's something that I probably say you're still working on, right? Is to sit is like, it's like telling someone whose mind runs at 100,000 miles an hour to just sit and meditate. Right? So that's
There's things I need to solve.
Like, but I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do that. Like, do you need to? Right? And it's just, I think one of the biggest things is when you're rushing and you're running through, it's like we never take that time to ask the questions of why am I doing this? Right? Do I need to do this? Is this important enough for me that I have to do it? Yeah. And that's the questions that people don't want to ask because they're like, got no time, I'm busy. It's just
that's right.
Do.
One thing just popped in my head as you're talking, it's kind of like you could be climbing the ladder very fast, but you might be in the wrong ladder the whole time. But if you just sit back a little bit, you might realize that, hang on, no, you got to shift the ladder to completely a new strategy. And so, having, really invest in someone else who has a different skill set. So for me, I did the wealth dynamic test from Roger Hamilton, and I was told that I was a supporter, so I was really good at kind of supporting someone's vision. But you know what? Sometimes I block myself in that little box and forgot that I'm actually quite a visionary. Like as much as the test, I like the test. Over the years, I really feel like I'm such a visionary. I can imagine, visualize new things. And then what I really needed was someone that was more mechanical and really finish what I started, and being my supporter almost, right? And so you kind of don't know who you are as much as you think you know. I didn't know that I was going to enjoy being a creative person, creating content and be that sitting there and think of the next step for the business. And because I boxed myself only from what I think of myself at the time. And so now that I know my weakness, I really, leverage on Richard's kind of guidance and know that, okay, he knows how to finish things. He knows how to, he's way better than me running teams. So I used to love teams. Of course, I still do. Like I love working with the team, but I still suck at it compared to you a lot. I feel like I'm a likable person or a likable boss, but I kind of let the team run amok, meaning like, everything sounds good. Everything is like, whenever we have a meeting, I always feel like it's all fine. Whereas Richard will be very specific, like what are we talking about? How is that solving that particular problem? And that's what I really appreciate. And I think what makes it work is that I don't feel like I'm your boss. I feel like we're teammates, we're partners. So I think that's one ability to actually make this work, hiring someone else, because if you think you're the CEO and now you're better than them, then I don't think that you can actually make this work or make it powerful. Whereas I think I come in and there's many times you're like, no, Lynn, you're wrong and this and that, right? Not in a nasty way, but it made me aware and go, yeah, that's fine, you do your stuff. Do you agree with that kind of dynamic?
Like, look, it's not easy to find Lynn, and I'm probably tooting my horn, right? is lucky because I saw myself as a partner, right? Even though the role I came in on is not at the partner level, I can see this is where I want to be, and this is it aligns with what I wanted to do. It's very similar to what I used to do. And so for me, I'm like, this is where I see myself. So I'll operate at this level, and that's a key difference here is not everyone will operate at that level. So, you lucked out. and for me, it's like, I will show you, Lynn, I can operate at this level. So then you're like, oh, whoa, that's not what I knew or was ready for. And I know people want people at that level, but you can't, a lot of people will not operate at that level, right? Because they have other desires. And so on that end, we did have initial difficulties, but that's because you're a business owner. As a business owner, you've used to doing how you did it, and then now someone comes in and goes, don't do that, you're not doing it right, you're not doing that. It challenges you, and it can be scary, and no one likes change. Subconsciously, we all don't actually like change, right? And so we also had challenges where, even though I'm telling you you're not right, and I have to and I've learned, right, I have to discuss it in a way for you, Lynn, to understand logically it doesn't sound right? I'm not saying you're stupid or anything like that, but how many times have we talked about it? Like, I just feel this, right? I'm like, cool that you feel that, right? But it doesn't make sense for us to spend $10,000-$20,000 to go do something that you feel. Let's get some data, to back that up. If you want, we'll go get some data. So it's not like completely shooting the idea down. It's like, let's get data together. And it's like, if it's too hard to get data or the data doesn't support it, then it's like, okay, it doesn't make sense. And so I think it's also you having to be open-minded, right? Which takes time, takes trust, because, you knew me before, but it's like, you still don't know, like, whether, is he saying that because he's lazy and he doesn't want to do work, or is it because it's actually the right thing? And, I think it's also a skill that I've brought in, where it's like, I don't push my own agenda, even if, because you're a very fiery personality. It's like, I know, I want this, and you've had it. I want this. Everyone's like, okay, right, we'll go do it. And then you have me going, why? And you're like, I don't care. I want to, like, why?
Yeah. And I needed that someone to challenge me so that I don't always get my way. Having your own way all the time isn't the best way. But what I can say about decision making is not like I don't make any decisions. I save the decision making on bigger things. Like, for example, when we're going through the COVID situation and sales were flopping around, or even when I hired too many people at the same time, sales were going wrong. And being a business owner, you have to make a decision of letting go of people, or or keep going, or just bigger stuff, and that requires your own gut feeling. And so you want to be making decisions on that and not go to someone else, right? I've known other people who's hired others who kind of trust too soon as well, and then got their business screwed because they just let go of decision making way too soon. And so when we're talking about decision making here, we're talking about very small day-to-day thing, and then of course you increase it over time. But still, as a business owner, you need to know when it's the right time to pull the plug or make that harder decisions, because your team relies on you on that too. And also it's like, I want to teach that you're not just like, just decide and be this kind of like weak person that I don't want to decide anything, and that's also not right, because I've seen business owners who's like, I just don't want to make any mistakes, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes, so I'm not going to decide anything. And I think it takes a lot of guts to also make firm decisions, go, no, this is our way or no way. But that mix when you're like, but I'm not always right, and I like you to make a decision. So it's kind of an art. I would say entrepreneurship is like an art. You know when to do something, you know when not to do something, and it's not as simple. And that's why, look, a lot of businesses fail and some last. Anything else to add to this?
No,
I think we covered it now. Well, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you've learned a thing or two about how to let go of decisions. This is Richard again, and ask us anything in the comments below, and otherwise we'll see you again in the next video.